Hola, buenos días. Soy yo, Señor Westland, su profesor de español. Today, we're going to talk about gender and number agreement. Now, to introduce this topic, I must say the following, that gender and number is an all-pervasive element in Spanish. That means everywhere you turn, every time you use Spanish, you need to take gender and number into account. Now, let's talk about just what this entails. In Spanish, we have the two genders, and we know these already. We have masculine and feminine. And when we talk about number, we want to take into account singular and plural. Singular, one. Plural, more than one. We have to take this into account when we are talking about any noun or any adjectives. In Spanish, the masculine vowel, the typical vowel is O. The feminine vowel is A in the singular form. So, for example, el perro, or la vaca, dog, cow, okay? But if you're talking about more than one dog, right, then you're gonna have to add an S to the end of it, or S to the end of the A. We do this in English too, right? Los perros, las vacas. So this is the basic rule, right? The majority of Spanish nouns and adjectives end with these possibilities, right? But there are exceptions to the rule. You will see those as we move forward. Now, perhaps you noticed some of my friends. Yo tengo unos amigos aquí en mi repiso, okay? Let's use these as examples so as to have a visual, kind of a visual aid to go with our práctica. Este es un cerdo. Cerdo. If we were to say, like, the pig is pink, right? The pig is pink. We would say the following. El cerdo es rosado. But imagine, if you will, we had two pigs, right? How would you then say the pigs are pink? We would say los cerdos son rosados. Notice how we needed to modify every single word in the sentence. Los cerdos son rosados. So we're tacking an S on to these three words, and then notice that the verb is goes to are, right? The pig is pink, the pigs are pink. Let's keep going. Este es un pato. ¿De qué color es el pato? Sí. El pato es amarillo. Ahora nos imaginamos que son dos patos. ¿Cómo se dice the ducks are yellow? Bueno, los patos son amarillos. Este es un caballo. ¿De qué color es el caballo? El caballo es café. We could also say marrón, or we could even say moreno, which is how you say it, brunette. Ok, bueno. ¿Y si tuviéramos dos caballos? ¿Cómo se diría the horses are brown? Los caballos son cafés. Now for this last one, let's use the feminine gender. Now, oso is how you say bear, but we're going to pretend this is a girl bear, so we're going to say osa. Osa. As in, la osa es azul. All right. It's going to get a little bit tricky now with the plural. So I'll just start writing it out. Las osas son. But what about here? Notice that in the previous three examples, all of our colors, our first two colors ended with O. Notice how this one ended with E, so we just added the S. But this color, azul, ends with a consonant. It's not a vowel like O and E, right? So how would we say the bears are blue? We would add E, S, just like that. Now we can look back at all of these examples and we can say, what if we're talking about female versions of those animals, right? And for all of them, right, we can imagine that we would have to change the gender of all of these things, right? La pata, las patas, right? And of course, the gender of the color would also have to change, as in las patas son amarillas, right? Now in this case, la caballa es café. We're not going to say café. No, we're going to keep it with café. All right. So that is the basics on gender and number, okay? But cuidado, be careful, ten cuidado, because there are some exceptions to the rule, and there's also what we call the gender trap. For example, the word hand is la mano, looks masculine, actually feminine. And another example here would be el agua, which looks feminine, but is actually masculine. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, right? So to recap, you have o and a as your kind of default gender vowels, right? But you have some that might end in another vowel like e, such as elefante, right? And you're going to have nouns and adjectives that might look one gender but are actually the other. Finally, the gender trap. In our society, we have what are called gender norms, correct? That is to say that there are certain expectations if you're a boy or a girl. For example, baby boys typically wear blue, baby girls typically wear pink, although that is not under their own volition, it's their parents making that decision for them. I digress. What my point is that some of the conceptions and notions that we have about gender based on our society and our experience might influence the way we think about gender in the Spanish language, and it might not be accurate. It might lead us astray, okay? Take, for example, the word tie, right? When you look at a tie, you probably make an immediate association of masculinity, right? Men wear ties for the most part. There are exceptions. However, the word tie in Spanish is la corbata, right? It's actually a feminine word. Another example, dress. You would think it is feminine, but it is actually el vestido, a masculine noun. One more thing about this gender trap idea, and this is mainly for my female students, okay? I've seen in the past the mistake made when you conjugate a verb in your female. Let's say, for example, I eat tacos. You might say something like, yo como tacos, okay? And you think, well, because I'm female, right, that's gonna have to have the feminine vowel a. No. That is not the case. And the reason being is because the word comer is a verb, right? It is not a noun. And verbs follow their own rules. So everybody, whether you're male or female, when you say I eat tacos, you're gonna say yo como tacos. This has been our lesson on gender and number agreement. I hope you found this video helpful. Now, will you please continue on to this online lesson and learn some more of the fine details about this idea. Muchas gracias y que tenga usted un buen día. Adiós.